thing like Night at the Roxbury. Hello, internet. Welcome. It's your girl Michelle Kanan, also known as the Satisfied Wife, and I'm here. I'm here with the amazing Tess Halpern. I'm gonna say like amazing a million times because I love Tess so much as a client, as a friend, as an alumni of my legendary Goddess Wife School, and as surprise, a support coach inside of this round of our Goddess Wife School program. I'm so excited. We're going to be talking more about that. Tess is here today because, well, aside from being awesome, Tess has like literally one of the sexiest relationships ever. And I loved having her inside of Goddess Wife School because she was always like upping the ante with like what her and her man are doing and how she was taking the tools from Goddess Wife School and applying them to her, quite frankly, already spectacular relationship. And I love that because I know a lot of women are like, my relationship isn't that bad, or, we're not on the rocks. Like, is Goddess Wife School still for me? The answer is yeah, if you want to make your relationship incredible, unfuckwithable, very sexy, Goddess Wife School is for you. And I wanted Tess to come on so she could brag. She could talk about her Goddess Wife School experience and how she is able to feel like super satisfied in her relationship with her man, and what are her favorite tools from Goddess Wife School that she uses. So, hi, Tess.
Hey, you do like the best intros.
Thanks. My podcast, I will be having a podcast coming out again soon. Thank you. But I also totally left out, you're an embodiment doula. Okay. And so you're one of the amazing, like, Goddess Wife School attracts incredible women that are doing incredible things. Like, tell me, as an embodiment doula, as a sexy ass bitch, as a woman in a committed relationship with an incredible man, like, why did you do Goddess Wife School, and what did you learn from it?
I did Goddess Wife School because we have an agreement, but I also just view relationships as in like always be open to them being better and, evolving and experiencing more together and on our own. And we have an agreement that, like, because we love to learn, to always be expanding in that together and to always be learning new tools and to bring them to each other and to get really excited about that. So when you said, unfuck with the bull, I remember, like 7 months ago, I was like, I want to be in an unfuck with the bull relationship. Who the fuck doesn't want that? That's it. So that really drew me in. I mean, of course, in your energy, but that was a huge part of just like, yes, it's great. And what are all of the tools that can make us both feel even better? Some of my favorite tools, well, one of them that just like really helped me get clarity in life in general was desires versus deal breakers, because we live in a world that is so focused on like, is it this person? If not, then the next person. And it's like, how do you define what is really something that you're arguing about, where you go, this doesn't work for me, versus something where it's just, I would like this to change, but if it doesn't, I still choose you.
Right. So like, what's your hill to die on, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So that was like a major one for me, which I love that one. And another one that I love is, well, I'm like, does she specifically teach us? I know you teach it in so many ways, but sitting with what I feel before I bring it to him.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because we're very open and we love talking and communicating and like being vulnerable with each other, but being comfortable sitting with it. And what I usually find comes up for me is I get to feel where it's coming from.
Yeah. We cover that in like feeling is healing, right? That's like one of the basis, all the tools for how to really like allow yourself to feel, but also tap into like the power and the wisdom of your emotions. And then later on in like the feminine communication module, like using that as a groundwork. Absolutely, like, for sure. Oh, it's so awesome. I'm really surprised that you said the boundaries, like, well, that's my sexy way of saying it's boundaries, but desires and deal breakers, because everybody wants to talk about intimacy and like the sexy stuff, and I think working with knowing not only what you want, right? Because I feel like in our culture, it's easy to sort of like have an immature, like a snap, like I want it now kind of response to things. But when you're in a partnership and you're thinking like long term and you're building with someone and you're creating a vision with someone, understanding where that impulse is coming from,
Mm-hmm.
how important it really is, and if it's actually like strategically going to be helping you get closer to what you want, or if it's just like satiating something that like might have been triggered in that moment.
Totally. Well, I think a lot of the times it comes from feeling like you feel something that's emotionally uncomfortable, and maybe something's going on that you don't know the full picture of what's going on in your partner's head, but it feels like you're losing control. So then what's the way, to get back to it is like to like bring up whatever is gnawing at you, even if you don't know why it's gnawing at you. So I love that.
Yeah, like how a lot of right, like when we're fighting with our partner and suddenly it's about all the things, like, but you did that, and then this time with this, and it's just like, where's all of this coming from? By the way, I didn't even tell the people of the internet, hi, if you guys are here, I see that you're here, say hello, leave a comment. We're on StreamYard, so I can't necessarily see your name, but let us know that you're here. If you have any questions, you can leave them for me and for Tess. We'd love to chat with you. And if you're watching the replay, of course, hashtag replay, or for all my cool kids, hashtag reslay. Let us know that you were here to talk about this with us. Yeah, it's so interesting. Like one of the reasons I love Goddess Wife School is it's so like, the reason it's Goddess Wife School, why it's not like marriage school or, couples therapy, is it's really an opportunity for us as women to think about like who we are and who we want to be and how we want to feel in our relationships and how we want to show up to co-create with our partners the things that we really desire, and like what are those things, and do we have the resources for that, and are we being good partners, are we like being the goddess that the king that we want to be with, like are we both reaching that kind of potential
Totally.
together? Oh,
Well, it's
hey
like that
Melinda. Yeah.
mutual inspiration in each other. I was talking with someone earlier and they were asking me, what is God Wife School? And I started explaining like all these pieces. I was like, it's really a lot of things. And I can't really just explain it in like one thing. But essentially, at the end of it, came down to me saying, like, it's about feeling inspired in yourself. And in that, your partner feeling inspired to. So it's not about, saying like, it's not always about talking. It's not always about saying, this is how I want you to show up, but being the way that would allow for that person to show up in that way that would feel good.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking earlier, like something that I want to talk about more in general and dive into is that like a lot of us in our relationships, like we've lost ourselves or we've lost our spark, or we're missing that way of being and showing up that we used to when things were like fresh or new, and then we're annoyed with ourselves, but then we get like instead it's easier to be like annoyed with our partner that he's not doing certain things or he's not being certain things, and our logical mind doesn't want to believe that we have so much ownership and power that if we can reactivate that or re-inspire that in ourselves, which we totally can, it like is always living in us. There's just all like that everyday stuff that gets it blocked, or resentment that can build out over time, but that we don't even have to get our man to do anything or try to talk him through it or push him, like that there's a way that we can really do it, and not for him, right? And it's not about like, oh, like I have to do this so that he'll whatever, but like really doing it from a place of loving ourselves and taking care of ourselves. And that's what makes really strong relationships. But I feel like one of the reasons I started Goddess Wife School was because a lot of other like personal development programs, they're about the self, but not how the self works in a dynamic and works to co-create in relationship. And that's why a lot of people can start to like grow apart, and that's definitely not an unfuckwithable kind of vibe.
No.
So
Yeah. Well, and to that, like, we're so used to, that person should be your everything. And like another huge win from Goddess Wife School was like, I did this a little bit, but not as much or as intentionally as I do now, which is, hey, like I have something I want to talk to you about, like, is now a good time, or let me know when there's a time that works for you. But really, like, I mean, even about small things, and we kind of, do that back and forth now where it, it almost sets up this like, ooh, what do you want to talk to me about? It's not this like, oh my God, something's wrong. It's like,
Uh-oh.
oh, there's something on their mind, which could be like about anything. Like sometimes it's about money, sometimes about crypto, because that's, his love. And like sometimes it's just about like anything. But just that checking in is like, it's not that it's like such a massive conversation that you have to, but it's like that checking in to see if that person has like the energy and the space for it. And that is like huge in respecting each other when you live with someone, when you're lifing with someone. It's
well, you're like, you're setting them up for success, right? This is something, because like men's minds and women's minds are really different, not in a bad way, just we're different, the way that we process information, the speeds at which we move at. And so when we can understand our partner and what we can do to set them up for success, like what we're doing is we're kind of ensuring that we are getting the response that we want, that we are getting the results that we want, instead of like doing something in a way that doesn't work for them and then being triggered from like the rejection or like the pulling away or whatever can happen next when he gives his no, which, well, that's in a whole other conversation, the power of a man's no, but that's something else that we can talk about another time. And then we can, from that triggered place, come up with stories like he doesn't love me, or he doesn't care about me or anymore. He's just not interested in me, or he just doesn't, appreciate the same things I do, or interested in the same things I am. And that's where like these tools, like what you're talking about, really allow us to go within and understand like what's a story, what's a self-fulfilling prophecy that we keep writing and then living, and it's not making either of us happy, and how do we get to start doing something different so that we can not only see our partner in his best light, but give him the opportunity to be showing up in that way, which gives us fulfillment, which helps us to show up in our best light and give back to them and be in that co-creational 100-100 cycle that I love to teach about.
Totally. Well, and we're not like expecting their energy to be there for us all the time. It's like respecting that like they're a person,
Right.
And not just expecting like, I need you now, so you show up for me now. It's like we all are living a life, so it's like being able to come to that and then both having the space to, everything you were talking about. But it really like respects that and they feel that. Like,
right. Well, also yeah, but it's also like what you keep bringing up, I keep wanting to be like, right, because men's brains are different. Like women are multitaskers. We can, be on top of a million things at once. Like, and for many men, they don't have that same kind of focus. And when we force them or pressure them or impose on them to be the way that we are and to be paying attention to things the way that we are, we get disappointed by their results. And then I see like complaints from women like, I ask him to do something, but he's only half-assing it, like, or, he doesn't do a good job, so I'll just do it anyway because I'll do it better, or he doesn't do it as fast as me. And so we're trained. There's so much conditioning that we have in our minds that see the way that our partner does it different. And then we don't even take a look at the nuances of like, wait, like, was he set up to actually do a good job? Is he actually good at this? Like, does he have the bandwidth for this? And then that's part of that like destructive cycle that we see over and over again.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Which is why it's so amazing, because you understand that, and like I can understand that. But it's different when you put that into practice. Like their brain is different than mine. Okay, like so fucking what? Like you didn't do the shit, But then when you put it into like all of the terms that you put it into, it's like, that's better. That sounds good. Now I get
well, look, I mean, obviously that's why Goddess Wife School is 10 weeks long, right? It's not just so it's like theories and conversations. Like everyone's practicing this stuff. Everyone's like trying like new things, different strategies, like, getting coached and supported. That's another reason I'm so excited for you to be a support coach in the group, so that everyone has like extra attention, extra resources. And also because you went through the program and you're putting it into place so beautifully in your relationship as well. But I want to talk about the sexy stuff. Can we talk about the sexy stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. And I think it's like I know you, but I just, I don't want to just like, I'm asking for consent first, I also think it's
Consented.
really connected to, thank you. I think it's also really connected to like the other piece that I want to talk about on this live, which is like how to actually get what you want from your man, whether it's, you know, chores, or whether it's like what's going on in bed, or whether it's some, you know, like, because we were just talking about like setting him up for success and understanding like the differences in how he processes information or speeds, or and not just automatically buying into a story, which we have to wonder like where that came from, of like, you know, him being wrong, or him being bad, or him not being as good as you, or all of those, or him not being reliable, or everyone that's watching. Oh, awesome. Melinda saying, I'm loving this convo. Yeah, Melinda, I'm really glad that you're here and tuning in. This is a really, I love doing alumni interviews because we really get to talk about these concepts. And these are the kinds of conversations that we have inside of Goddess Wife School, so that we can really, again, understand the truth, or another version of reality of what's going on, and then start to apply the tools in our relationship so that we can have these shifts in experience, and so that we stop automatically like feeling like it isn't working, right? That's why the first module is creating a relationship vision, because it's about making the space for what you want instead of what most people do, which is like complain about what's not working. But so speaking of that, when it comes to sex, especially, or intimacy, or both, right? They're not the same thing. You'll be the first to tell me that. I feel like a lot of couples, as time goes on, you know, it's not as sexy anymore, right? That's something that they'll say, or there's miscommunications. Or we were on our bonus call this week for Goddess Wife School for the women that already signed up, and one of the women are like, why can't he just pin me against the wall like he used to? Like, you have that kind of sexy heat in your relationship. Like, you are always posting like amazing outfits and like toys and like fun things that you're doing, and I love that so much. Like, how do you see like what's inside of Goddess Wife School and what you're doing in your relationship? Like, how does that all come together to make things so fucking hot for you guys?
Like how to wait, say the question again.
Oh, okay. That's my long question. Tell me why your relationship is so sexy, Tess. Tell the people how you get it to be so fucking hot.
Okay, well, the answer is not, doesn't sound sexy,
Okay.
but working with a psychiatrist that is focused on healing through sexuality, that is a huge part of why I have the relationship that I have, because I think that you can heal through sex. That doesn't mean just go fuck. Like, that's not the point of it. But it's
Right.
how you explore, it's how much you communicate, how open you are, like being that comfortable to explore things together. So I mean, it stays hot because it's like it's all in the little things, right? It's like sending a sexy text message, which seems like, I mean, it can be like so menial. Like sometimes it's just like, I want your cock, you know? But then in the moments of like where we're together, it's the buildup, you know? Like I think we get so focused on waiting for our partner to make the move, or they're just not doing the thing we not want. But it's like, but how are you in response to them? So like if we're cooking in the kitchen, which we do pretty much every day together, like I'm grinding on him or I'm smacking his butt, or like those are just things that we naturally do, not because we're just having wild sex while we cook, but because we're playful with each other. So there's not like this attitude of like, I know what you're going to do and you know what I'm going to do, and we're just going to like, we're going to do these things and then we're going to sit down and watch a show, and then I'm going to go to bed at night resenting you, feeling like, why don't you just
Mm,
initiate it?
mm,
Right? It's
mm,
like if we have a show on and I want that intimate connection in that way, I'll be like, pause the show, you know, and just climb on top of him and look into his eyes. And that takes effort, right? Like it takes that effort of wanting versus I want this, so I'm going to take the step. So it's not necessarily that I'm initiating the sex, but I'm initiating this moment that allows it to lead to something, or it allows for this deeper connection.
and I think it's like it's effort, it's intention, and it's also like vulnerability, because for a lot of women that have been felt rejected, or they felt like they've tried but nothing's worked, there comes like a fear into your heart of like, well, I don't want to be rejected again. I don't want to be like told no. I don't want to feel unattractive. And there's a way that we can start to build walls around our hearts and our pussies when it comes to our partners. I love that you're sharing this, because I'm just like, yes, she is our support coach inside of Goddess Wise School. This is going to be like so good, because even like that little nuance that you said, where it's not like I climbed on top of him and I pulled down his pants, but it's like I climbed on top of him and I looked into his eyes. Like, we again are so conditioned to be limited in terms of like, what is sex, what is intimacy, what is pleasure, like what do men want, right? Like, how many of us were taught like men just want sex, men just want to get off, like men, they don't do emotions, they don't like connection. Like, we have all these preconceived notions that we don't even realize that are like part of running that show and that narrative, and having the support and the inspiration to try things like that. I'm totally going to fucking do that, Tess. Like, I am, the next time I feel like I'm going to be looking into my husband's eyes later, because it's so easy to forget those things, right? Or like, as human beings, right, we're creatures of habit. So we just automatically start to do things mindlessly as a way to like conserve energy, just as like human machines, not as like feelers, or heart connectors. And so having those ideas, those inspirations, like women like you and me around to remind us, to like encourage us to try new things, it's so helpful.
Totally. Well, and I would say to anybody like watching who's, struggling with that, it's like the intimacy can be sparked just by, you know, touching your partner's body somewhere where you don't normally touch. I mean, like that could be their back, like it's literally like we are so trained to just put energy in certain places. But, just feeling that physical connection starts to change how we feel and interact with each other.
So good. And what do you think, right? Because like I want to tie it back to, like a lot of women feel like they're not really getting what they need or what they want from their man, whether it's that they feel like disconnected, or they feel like he doesn't hear them, or he's not listening, or he isn't capable, or whatever like the explanation would be why. Like, what is it that you feel like helps you and your partner, like that he is receptive, that he does say yes to you, that he's inspired to like want to give you or be all those things that you really want him to be?
Like in depth, I mean, communication on every level, communication about the sexual things, but also communication about what's on the surface, which could be, yeah, I'm waiting for the right time, which like you'd be surprised, like that's something that men would think about more than you realize. They're waiting for the right time, or but like it's not just about talking about the sexual things, but it's talking about the sexual things, and being comfortable, getting comfortable, normalizing, I guess what I'm trying to say, in your relationship, talking about all of those things. It's not just the kinky things, like sometimes my request might be like, I just want you to kiss me and like use your tongue, and let's just do this for a few minutes. Like I just want to feel that. It's, the whole spectrum. But really, if you have to say like what's the one thing, communication. I mean, communication just all the way.
Well, it's communication, and what I want to layer on top of that
Yeah, go for it.
people that might not notice, right? And I'm a somatic therapist and you're an embodiment dualist, so we're like paying a lot of attention to bodies and to energy, is that way that when you're talking, there's not that pressure, or there's not that expectation for disappointment, or there's not that like protection, like of don't hurt me, or I don't trust you, or those kinds of defenses. And a lot of us don't realize that, especially when we're in a committed relationship and we're with a loving partner, like somebody that, logically or deep down, we know he loves us. Like we know that he wants us to be happy. It's that kind of like situation that we're starting from. It's our own practice and our own responsibility for showing up, for learning how to show up with open hearts and with softness in our bodies, as a gift, as a gift to ourselves, as a gift in service to the relationship and to what we both want. And that we have like full ownership and sovereignty over that.
Totally. Well, and when I say communication, I don't just mean like just to clarify, because I think it's kind of a broad word that I didn't realize.
Right.
Like not dumping, like this is what I desire and now I'm telling you and now I've communicated it, but really learning how, those two people communicate and learning what works best for you, learning how to communicate it to each other. And, like through that path, you get to a place where you can start to, know how to talk about those things that feels good for both people. It's not like I'm saying I want this and you never do it, and you're saying, well, I'm uncomfortable,
Right.
But it doesn't mean no one's ever uncomfortable. It's just that beautiful thing that happens in your relationship.
Right. I mean, there is discomfort, right? Like there's so many things and so many energies or ways of being that we're taught that there shouldn't be, right? You should be happy all the time and things should never be awkward and things should be, like perfect, beautiful, whatever. Each person has their own list of words or states of being that they feel under pressure to be like, and then bring that to the relationship. Another reason, you're just making me think of all the reasons I love Goddess Wife School, is right, the permission that we have to be all of the things, right? To like show up like bragging about how amazing things are, and also like when things are shitty, when we don't feel our best, when we're going through something, that we can bring that to the group too. And it's not about being positive or like getting in like a high vibe. It's learning as women, as goddesses. This is like my relationship to the goddess. It's, learning how to be with all of that without shutting ourselves or putting pressure on ourselves, or actually doing a lot of what we do to our partners. That's really like how we talk to ourselves, like how critical we can be, how pressure filled, how disconnected from heart, from desire. And that's another like really fucking cool opportunity for us inside of the program.
Yeah, I loved the group chat. That was just so like, you could feel the energies of like the highs and the lows, all the time. And being able to be in that conversation is way more transformative than just simply like buying a course and doing a course, because you get to like firsthand experience that like everyone's going through shit. Oh wait, right. Oh, these people are like have a lot of amazing things. Oh, and it's still shit, and it's amazing, and it's shit, and it's amazing. But you like get to experience that, which makes like the experience you're going through, which is like it's amazing, it's shit, it's amazing, like of your personal stuff, like that much more powerful.
Yeah, because there's a lot of like half truth out there of like what growth is and what love is and what it looks like and how we get there, So yeah, and I also love, like I used to only like to do one-on-ones or only want to do private like programs, but having a group, being in a group, you learn so much from what every other person is going through, and you find bits and pieces of yourself and your story and so many different women, so from so many different walks of life. And I love that. I love that very much too.
Me too.
Are you excited to Are you excited to be a support coach?
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. This is so cool. We just solidified this like yesterday, and which is why this is like announcing today. But it's all coming together so perfectly. Tess is an incredible human being. Like, as you can see, she really lives the epitome of what we're teaching inside of Goddess Wife School, and really has a lot of satisfaction and fun and play and sexiness and growth in her relationship. Like, I've loved watching you grow, and also watching your partner like step up and who he is, and all your like announcements and fun things that you guys have going on behind the scenes that we'll brag about another time. I won't talk about that now necessarily, but
totally.
So for you guys, obviously we're doing this talk because doors are open right now for Goddess Wife School. You can find all the info or sign up at goddesswifeschool.com, or shoot me a DM if you're interested in one of the few VIP one-on-one spots that we have left. Doors are closing tomorrow, and we're starting on Monday with an incredible group of diverse, brilliant women from all walks of life, different relationship statuses, different professional statuses. It's such an inspiring group of women. And this is the first time we're going to have a support coach. This round, we're doing so many more beautiful rituals, embodiment practices, physical practices, really tapping so much deeper into the embodiment piece, like being a goddess wife, understanding like what that means for you, how you want to show up in your relationship every day, how you want to feel in your relationship every day, and actually like experiencing it and having it like and living it in your life, and then watching your man step up to meet you in that place too. So I can't wait to see everybody's brags and testimonials as we go through the program. Tess, is there anything else that you want to share for anybody that's thinking about joining, or anything that anybody else should know?
Yeah, I just want to say, like, if you're thinking about it or if this resonates with you, like, join us. We'd love to support you on this journey. We are just so excited to be doing this. I am so excited, and I can feel your excitement through the camera.
I'm so excited. I love launching because it's hard and it's like so much energy, like there's so much, but it gives me this opportunity for like new things to happen, to connect with my alumni, to remember why the program is so fucking good, and that what, like how worth it is and what it's going to do for my relationship. So Tess, thank you so much for joining today. If anybody has any questions, first of all, if anybody wants to ask Tess about her experience, y'all are welcome to shoot her a DM, or connect with her anyway, because her work is incredible. If you want to experience her work in addition to being a goddess wife, you should join us inside of Goddess Wife School. Get your booties in there, because I'm going to send out the first materials and get the private Facebook group started super soon. And yeah, we're super excited. So thanks everyone for joining, and thank you, Tess. I'll see you inside the program. Bye.